Welcome to our channel. Today we talked about Spoticash review. Leading veterinary expert reveals how this strange wolf secret, discovered in olive groves off the coast of the Mediterranean, could help fix your dog's digestive and skin troubles fast. Ever been attacked by a pack of wild dogs? It was like something out of a movie. There I was, walking through a remote European olive grove, taking in the beautiful scenery, when suddenly, I was surrounded by 7 large dogs. For a moment panic gripped me. I wondered if I was about to be eaten alive, and my heart was racing as a lump rose to the top of my throat. And that's when I noticed 2 very important things. First, these dogs weren't snarling. They were simply curious. And from my extensive experience in the veterinary field for more than 30 years, it was clear from their body language they weren't looking for a fight. That was a relief, to say the least. But it's the second thing I noticed that would go on to change everything. Both for myself personally, but also for pet lovers around the world who were worried about their dog's health. Most pedigreed dogs. You see, once the panic went away and I could really look at these dogs, I was astonished to see that these were some of the healthiest looking canines I had ever seen in my life. Even healthier than the most pedigreed dogs that would be brought into the pet hospital by my most well-to-do clients. And here's the craziest part. While I didn't know it at the time, that strange encounter would ultimately lead me to a staggering discovery. A breakthrough that's now helping thousands of pet owners put an end to their dog's annoying skin and digestive issues in a matter of days. And as I'll show you inside this short letter, this breakthrough requires nothing but a simple 7-second tweak to your dog's dinner routine. And yet, it can virtually put an end to their diarrhea, vomiting, and other messy digestive issues. Help clear up their allergies, itchy skin, obsessive policking, room-clearing gas, and other unpleasant smells that discourage you from snuggling up with your loving dog. Restore a shiny, healthy Westminster-worthy coat that makes your pupper a pleasure to pet. Bring back the boundless energy, excitement, and playfulness your dog had when you first brought them home. Protect your pet from dangerous life-threatening parasites, and help maximize their number of healthy, quality years, so you can enjoy your dog for the longest amount of time possible. Now, this doggy revitalizer has nothing to do with any toxic medication, smelly creams, or expensive food brands. Any food. Instead, this is something you can sprinkle onto any food, for any breed, of any age, to almost instantly supercharge your dog's health at a cellular level. And here's the shocking part. Because while it's true that I spent my entire decades-long career working alongside some of the sharpest veterinary experts in the entire world, the cream of the crop of animal specialists, in places like New York, Frankfurt, and Toronto, where the city's wealthiest elite would bring their pets, because of the medical miracles we were known to perform. While all of that's true, this isn't something I learned in some hospital or research center. Complex surgeries. In fact, while our team easily completed complex surgeries and removed extensive tumors on an almost weekly basis, when it came to finding a long-term fix for the chronic digestive and skin issues that plague so many dogs, even our team of world-class vets struggled to find a safe, healthy solution. And as ironic as this may sound, it wasn't until years after I retired from my active veterinary work, when I had a chance encounter with some unusually healthy stray dogs, that I finally made this discovery. I call it the wild factor. And the funny thing is, even though it was the most exciting discovery of my long medical career, I can't even take the credit for it. Because this pack of wild super strays led me directly to this incredible health enhancer. It was all hidden on a small patch of the most nutrient-rich soil I've ever encountered, which was where these wild dogs intuitively bury their bones. I promise, I'll share the full story with you in just a second, including what was hidden. in that soil that's so important. Healthy and happy dog. So if you care about your dog and want them to live the healthiest and happiest life possible, then make sure you keep reading, because I'm going to give you all the details about this amazing discovery, plus how you can use this wild factor to boost your dog's health in under 7 seconds a day. Now, if you're skeptical, I respect that. I wouldn't give anything to my own dogs without undeniable proof that it's going to help them. But fear not, because not only has this wild factor been backed by dozens of peer-reviewed veterinary studies, but many of the ex-patients I've shared this simple solution with have been blown away by the immediate difference it made in their dogs, even when years of typical vet treatments consistently failed them. It's so rewarding to hear the grateful thank you messages they send me. It has kept his bowels firm and regular. Before our vet suggested we try it, he would have bouts of diarrhea that would last for several days or longer. I would recommend it for any dog with intestinal irregularities. Linda L. Upset stomach, rumbly tummies or diarrhea due to almost any issue, including a new environment, fixes it for my dog. Terry R. My dog would spend hours on his bed just itching, scratching, and licking his paws. I'd get so frustrated, so I'd yell at him, and he'd go out the doggy door and do it in the yard. I felt so bad. Now, he doesn't itch at all, and his skin seems so healthy. Monica J. So if you're tired of watching your dog whimper in pain from digestive distress, if you're sick of seeing them scratch themselves raw, if you want your real pet back, instead of the sad, lifeless shell they've become, and you don't want to waste hundreds of dollars on useless vet visits with doctors who mean well, but are clueless to help, then sit back and read this report to the very end, because I'm going to give you all the secrets to restoring your dog's innate immunity and unlocking years of optimal health, just by making one simple tweak to your dog's dinner routine. But before we get into all the details of this dog health solution, first, let me properly introduce myself. My name is Ross Parker, Dr. Ross Parker, and as might be able to tell from my accent, I'm actually originally from Texas, where I grew up loving nature and wildlife, and decided to become a veterinary technician so I could help as many animals as possible. In the 30-plus years since, I've treated animals of all shapes and sizes, in many countries around the globe, working in some of the biggest clinics and with some of the most prestigious surgeons and specialists on the planet. And while I love all of God's creatures, dogs have a particularly special place in my heart. Ever since I was a young boy, I've been around dogs. And as one dog lover to another, I'm sure you'll agree there's nothing else like the bond you have with your dog, nor the unconditional love they feel for you. That's why it's always heartbreaking when dog owners come to me scared and confused, unsure why their dog isn't feeling their best, despite doing everything they're supposed to. One of those people was Michelle, who came to me with her 7-year-old Labrador, Cooper. Michelle and Cooper had been inseparable ever since. She adopted him as a rescue, and any time she went through a breakup, or lost a job, or had some other difficult moment in her life, Cooper was always there as the rock she could depend on, ready to make her feel better with his wagging tail and sloppy kisses. But then Michelle started to notice some changes in Cooper. Cooper, dog. He wasn't running around with the same excited energy he usually had. He began licking his paws, sometimes until they were raw and bleeding. His poops became soft and mushy. He began dropping farts that would clear out a room. His normally insatiable appetite started to dwindle. And overall, Cooper just wasn't the same rambunctious pup he used to be. Like many dog owners, Michelle figured it must be a problem with his diet. So she did some research and tried a few different options, including freeze-dried food, premium kibble, raw organic meat, and even supplements like probiotics, omega-3 single-S, and multivitamins. And aside from quickly burning a hole in her wallet, Michelle didn't notice much of a difference afterwards. And that's when she came to me for help, unsure what else to do next. Now, I'll reveal what was really causing her dog's health issues in just a moment. But first, I want you to know one thing. Michelle's story is not unique at all. In fact, over the years I lost count of the number of dog owners who were telling me the same thing. They were doing all the right things. Brushing teeth. Not only with their dog's diet, but also things like going for walks a few times a day, regular grooming, brushing their teeth, playtime with other dogs, and just generally treating them like a member of the family. And still these dogs had health issues that ranged all the way from mildly annoying to literally life-threatening. So if you can relate to that frustration of not knowing what's causing your dog's health problems, keep watching, because you're just minutes away from discovering the answer. And you'll discover how the 7-second rejuvenation ritual can put your dog on the road to feeling better than ever. First, I need to stress that this applies no matter where in the world you live. Because even though I began my career in the veterinary field in Texas, I've since had the opportunity to work in many corners of the globe. And I've seen these same health issues with dogs the world over. Compulsive surgeries. In fact, the more I traveled and worked with dogs in different countries, places like Toronto, Frankfurt, New York City, the more I started to piece together what was at the root of all these health issues. And here's a hint. The number one issue isn't what your dog is eating. Instead, it's what they're not eating that's to blame. And this started to become clear to me when I was invited to one of the top veterinary seminars held in Toronto, which, if you don't know, is home to some of the wealthiest people in the entire world, many of whom treat their pets like royalty. So we had a lot of these rich elites bringing their pampered pooches to us. Yet despite these dogs being on super expensive diets and having the best of everything money could buy, these were some of the sickest dogs that I've ever seen in my life. Policking, diarrhea and other digestive issues were through the roof. So was anxiety and lack of energy. Policking, itching, and scratching, as well as foul breath and dull, lifeless coats. And in a lot of these cases, there was no obvious reason for any of their symptoms. These dogs were usually eating premium and organic foods. They didn't have any genetic disorders. And according to their owners, these dogs were perfectly healthy. Until these issues seemed to just strike out of the blue. So I racked my brain trying to figure out what the heck was going on. And since these dogs were all different breeds, sizes, and ages, dogs didn't go outside that much. There really wasn't any common link between them. Except for one thing. A lot of these owners lived in small, urban apartments. Which means that a lot of these dogs didn't go outside that much. This was true even for those dogs who lived out in the suburbs with big yards. In almost every case, these dogs weren't outside playing or interacting with nature all that much, which I already knew wasn't ideal. However, didn't explain all of the health problems I was seeing. And it wasn't just me that was puzzled, because working alongside me were about 40 vets from around the globe, many of whom were leaders in their respective fields. And even though we were doing procedures like advanced spinal surgeries, radiation and chemotherapy, and many other complicated and involved procedures, these seemingly simple dog health issues had us all stumped. So I couldn't help wondering, could there be some deeper connection there that the medical industry has overlooked? So curiosity got the better of me and I started doing my own research online, checking various online academic papers and journals that my job gives me access to. And while there wasn't a ton of information on this topic, give wild belly every single day. There was some evidence suggesting these types of health issues in dogs have increased over time. And some scientists and vets speculated it could be due to our modern environments, which dogs were never really designed to live in. And as you've probably heard before, dogs are directly descended from wolves. But what most people don't know is that unlike domesticated dogs, wolves don't get allergies and are rarely sick. That's one reason many people speculate that dogs should be on a raw meat diet. Because just like wolves, dogs are natural carnivores who evolved to thrive on hunting and eating prey in the wild. And when we look at the teeth and digestive system of dogs, we can see that's the case. When you look at a dog's stomach, it's about 10 times more acidic than that of humans. That means dogs can easily break down raw meat and even bones in their stomachs. Dog stomach. Because that's what they would have naturally eaten in the wild. And you've probably seen this in action yourself, where you give your dog a treat and they gulp it down without even chewing. That's because their stomach acid easily breaks it down. But with people, we need to chew our food more thoroughly so we can properly digest it. So if you've heard that it's a good idea to give your dog more raw meat in their diet, it comes from this idea that that's what he or she would have eaten in the wild. So is the solution to your dog's health issues as simple as feeding them raw meat? Feeding with raw meat? Well, not exactly. You see, when a dog in the wild eats another animal, they're not only eating the meat, they're eating the entire animal, including the guts, the organs, and even the bones. And while that may sound a little gross, it actually gives dogs all kinds of nutrients that they don't get from just the meat alone. For example, when a wolf eats the stomach contents of their prey, they're also ingesting beneficial microorganisms that then make their way into the wolf's digestive tract. And that's important, because it helps keep their microbiome properly balanced. Now, this probably isn't anything new to you. And if you're thinking, look, I already know about good and bad gut bacteria, don't worry, it's about to get a whole lot more interesting. Because I want to tell you about a related issue that almost nobody has heard of. Experts are calling it sterile gut. And it happens when a dog lives in a modern, sanitized environment, which is the complete opposite of how its ancestors lived in the wild. Sterile gut. Now I realize that may not sound like a big deal, but in reality, it's a huge problem. Because once sterile gut strikes your dog, even if you don't notice any symptoms at first, your furry friend is already starting to suffer. And it's only a matter of time before their health deteriorates. And issues like diarrhea, smelly farts, bad breath, skin problems, vomiting, and lack of energy are only the beginning. Now, let me stop here for a minute to answer a question that so many dog owners ask me, which is this: why does my dog seek out and eat poop when I spend so much money buying them premium quality food? I understand how frustrating this can be. And the answer relates to what we were just talking about. See, poop is loaded with all kinds of bacteria and other microbes. And if your dog is eating it, it's often because on an instinctive level, your dog realizes it contains something beneficial that they're lacking. And it's a pretty strong indicator. They could be suffering from sterile gut. Now I'm not suggesting you let your dog eat poop, because there are other health issues that can come with that. But it is a sign that your dog could be lacking critical bacteria needed for a healthy microbiome. And since the microbiome controls the digestive system, it can result in issues like diarrhea, farting, bad breath, and even weight gain or weight loss. Yet it doesn't stop there, because the microbiome also largely regulates the immune system. Meaning if your dog has sterile gut, they're more susceptible to attacks from foreign invaders like viruses and other dangerous pathogens. And you may notice problems like low energy, cuts and infections, wounds that are slow to heal, a patchy or dull coat, and just not behaving like their regular happy self. microbiome stays imbalanced. And here's the other thing. Over time, if the microbiome stays imbalanced, research shows that there's a significantly higher chance of developing an autoimmune disease. 1. Which is where the immune system goes haywire and attacks the body. Now, there are dozens of different autoimmune diseases, which is why symptoms can vary wildly from dog to dog.